on this edition of Somerville Neighborhood News. It was a hot spring in the Somerville real estate market. We will let you know just how hot. Find out about the rebirth of the old waste transfer site in East Somerville. Have fun at one of Somerville's oldest street festivals, ArtBeat, and join the cleanup on the Mystic River. All these stories and more on Somerville Neighborhood News.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Somerville Neighborhood News. Today is July 14th, 2015. I'm Melanie Morris. Somerville Neighborhood News is your bi-monthly newscast and online source for multimedia news. It's a community service production of SCAT TV, created by staff, interns, and your neighbors. We bring you the news every 2 weeks on Channel 3 and on our website, somervilleneighborhoodnews.org. In the world of real estate, there's one universal mantra, and we all know what that is: location, location, location. Somerville has been an up-and-coming destination for several years now, but this spring's red-hot market had both realtors and buyers shaking their heads.
I just had no idea essentially how crazy the market is, just how much above asking people are offering.
Claudine Kohick and her husband Evan are looking for a house for themselves and their 2 young sons. They've been working with Thalia Tringo of Thalia Tringo and Associates. Tringo has been selling real estate in Somerville for 13 years, and she's never seen the market as hot as it is now.
Starting in 2011, we started to see, the number of competitive offers increase. 2012 was, a lot of competitive offers, 2013 more, 2014 more, and 2015 more. But as I say, I think this is probably the peak.
After a few weeks of working with Thalia, identified a property on Hinckley Street that seemed perfect for us, and so we then engaged in the bidding war and unfortunately lost. We came into it thinking we were really strong candidates because we offered, something like 11% above asking. We did a pre-inspection, so we had somebody come and inspect the home so that we could then waive the contingency, making our offer even stronger. But others had done that too, and in the end we didn't have the highest offer, and so we found out that we lost to an offer that was something like 16% above asking.
And they're not alone. According to statistics compiled by the Bean Group real estate firm, the Somerville housing market is booming. The average price of a house in Somerville has risen close to 20% over the last year, peaking at $696,000 in June, and selling prices now average 105% above the asking price. We met Shane Marion, owner of Benoit Realty, at a recent open house. With 14 years' experience in Somerville, he sees the same things happening to his clients.
The average investor learns the hard way. They're competing with a lot of cash buyers, a lot of no contingency buyers, and they learn by losing out, and then they start writing up stronger offers if they can. And it becomes very frustrating for the average home buyer or the average investor to compete with some of the buyers in the market today.
Lucinda Lagasse is looking for a multifamily as both an investment and a home for her adult daughter. She visited the Benoit Realty open house as a part of her search.
I started looking at multi-property listings and was daunted by the ostensible demand for them. They seem to go on and off about every week or two. Some of the properties I think they're a little aggressively priced. But I will bid what I think we need to bid, and then we'll see where it goes from here. And they're being snapped up.
Most properties, if they're reasonably priced, will come on the market on, say, a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. There'll be showings and open houses through the weekend, and offers are usually due Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And for a lot of properties, there are multiple bids. So it's a pretty short window, and most things will go under agreement within a week.
Again, the Bean Group research backs up what they're seeing. Days on market has continued to drop over the past year, reaching an overall average of 60 days in June. What's driving the Somerville market?
We are in a marketplace with basically finite inventory. So we never really overbuild because we don't have any land to build on.
With the additional factors of ease of transportation, like the red line and the green line coming in, it's really jacking up the prices of those homes that are local to those things.
I think reputation is really driving the market in Somerville. Somerville's reputation continues to get better and better and better. Like I said, a lot of foreign investments coming here now.
In the bidding wars that are going on now for multifamilies, most of what I see are investors winning.
Investors are coming in with cash offers above asking price with no contingencies. That makes it difficult for the average home buyer to compete. The fierce competition has some buyers, like Claudine and Evan, stepping away from the fray.
I feel as though we're taking a few steps back now in terms of our wanting to jump on something and buy right away for a number of reasons. First of all, it's crazy right now, and we have some glimmer of hope perhaps that at least things may level off. Perhaps there's some chance that property values may actually begin to dip a little bit next year or in the future. We're in a fortunate situation where we don't really have anything compelling us to be needing to move right away. And additionally, waiting for us provides the added benefit of having a little bit better of a down payment to be able to offer as we're saving in small increments month by month.
According to Tringo, that's a sound decision.
It's a pendulum, and the market goes up and the market goes down. So focus on, does it meet your needs? Now, will it meet your needs in the long term? If you're going to be squeezed going into it now, don't do it. Buy planning to be there for 3 or 5 years. Take the frenzy out of and the fear out of looking.
Over the next few months, we'll be looking more closely at the influences driving the market and what can be done to keep Somerville's housing stock affordable. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, the old waste transfer station property on Poplar Street is being transformed into a community space full of art, life, and nature. Luis Liu visited the abandoned site and brings us a look at its rebirth.
What do you see here? A desolate piece of land along busy McGrath Highway? Well, there are plans to make it the next go-to place for Somerville residents. The 2.2-acre site at 10 Poplar Street in East Somerville will become the home of Somerville ARTfarm for Social Innovation, a self-sustaining Creative Commons. It will incorporate green technology, entrepreneurship, art, urban agriculture, and community building events.
So the idea of farm meaning, nurturing and growing. We look at it as the overall site should hopefully incubate other sort of, socially active or progressive things that maybe we can help nurture that.
Gregory Jenkins is the director of the Somerville Arts Council, which has been instrumental in building the vision of ARTfarm. Last Wednesday, the community was invited to a public meeting where schematic drawings of the site were presented and the public was updated on the planning process.
And I think that sort of ambition is very impressive. I think a multi-function space like they're proposing is actually something that could be very useful to the community.
Current designs include 65,000 square feet of open space and 32,000 square feet of varied art space. 9 primary elements are planned, including a grand portal, gallery and cafe, pop-up shops, creative activity space, outdoor performance space, artist studios, growing space, youth space, and recreational lawn and track.
We look at it as a way in which maybe it could be, hopefully a model for other types of, redevelopment. So
this is where ARTfarm will come to life. For years, a waste transfer station stood here, bringing rodent and odor problems with it. The city was determined to tear it down. On a cold winter day 2 years ago, the demolition began right behind me.
I want to welcome you all to what will be the former site of the incinerator and transfer station in about 24 hours as we begin taking a wrecking ball to this somewhat of an iconic relic of our urban past.
The transfer station was built on city-owned land. Somerville received a small financial benefit from having the station in the city, but the cost to residents' quality of life was too high. The Board of Aldermen and Mayor's office negotiated a new contract that sent trash out of the city.
It costs the city a little more money, but not as much as we thought. But the benefit that we get by being able to take the building down and open up a whole new neighborhood there was priceless.
Ward 2 Alderman Marianne Houston is a lifelong Somerville resident. She has a clear memory of living with the station.
Certain days it smells. They would have like fake owls on their roofs to try and keep the seagulls away. You know, all of these things that were impacting the communities.
Houston attended the demolition 2 years ago and supported the mayor's commitment to letting the community determine what would be built on the site.
What people wanted to do was to create a space that would be welcoming, that would involve the arts, but involve some other unique uses, that would pull people into the area.
Well, it's not necessarily a destination area, but what we hope is that, you know, if we can create this facility where people want to come to it, and then that energy will help, you know, rejuvenate that area.
Pulling people into the area and rejuvenating the area are top priorities. Residents of East Somerville and the Brick Bottom community often feel isolated from the rest of the city.
I would like to make sure that whatever is put here has outreach to all parts of the city. I feel like some of the artistic efforts that happened in the city over the past few years, like Somerville Open Studios and Porch Fest, when you look at who's participating in them, there's a big gap. The whole neighborhood of East Somerville seems to be unrepresented, and I'd like to not have that repeated here because this site is next to East Somerville.
Current construction along the McGrath Highway will open up the corridor between the two sides of the thoroughfare.
Mass DOT is going through changing some of the traffic patterns along McGrath Highway and along Medford Street. And one of the things they're doing is making it easier to cross from this side, underneath that overpass, to the other side.
The creation of ARTfarm and new corridors connecting East Somerville to the rest of the city are giving a new sense of vibrancy.
To the people who have lived here a long time and have lived with a transfer station, and when the wind's blowing a certain way, you know there's a transfer station there. I think what it means is it's a sign of, I think, a very positive change. I think for people who are newcomers here, I think it's a sign that, you know, the city is open to new ideas and new opportunities. By having grown up here and, you know, not having that waste transfer station there for so many years and seeing it come down just on a personal level is like one of those things that you thought you would never see, you know, but then you end up seeing it and you're saying, oh, I'm getting to see this. In my lifetime, I'm getting to see this happen, you know, and it's a big deal.
The Arts Council is currently putting construction design documents out to bid. For more information on the project, visit somervilleartscouncil.org and search for ARTfarm. More than 20 residents shared their concerns about the city's plan to take the property at 515 Somerville Avenue during a public hearing of the Board of Aldermen's Finance Committee last week. The city has identified the site as a prime location for the construction of a new 6-bay fire station with training facilities. The committee heard their concerns and voiced several of their own.
This undertaking involves a large and expensive parcel. And my question is there any need for including the training center with the actual fire bays, the fire stations? And the reason for moving it from Lowell Street is because Lowell Street is a very steep hill. Question, is Central Street less steep hill?
Congestion on Somerville Avenue is insanity. All right, having 6-bay fire station, I don't see how that would possibly help fit into any architecture on that street. We've got actually part of the street now where people are sitting down to enjoy their food. We have 2 bike lanes, 1 on each side, parking on both sides. It's a major thoroughfare. I don't see how that could possibly help response times to anywhere.
We're listening to you. That's what the process is. And you know, as far as we're concerned, we're being very transparent on this board because we are here. And just because the mayor wants this piece of property doesn't mean we're going to give it to him. The case has to be made on both sides.
At the committee's meeting the following evening, Chairman LaFuente expressed his concerns about the lack of cost detail for both the property taking and building construction. Other members want to see how the 515 location fits into the city's overall development plans, and some alternative locations proposed. The committee held off voting on the $4.8 million bond request. The committee did vote to ask the Executive Director of Office of Strategic Planning and Community Development, Michael Glavin, to provide them with a complete rundown of purchase and associated costs before making their decision. Now let's see what's in this week's Somerville Journal.
Hello, this week in the Somerville Journal, we'll have coverage of decrepit buildings in the city. We'll be following the Boston Renegades on their playoff hunt, and we'll be following the ongoing saga of the fire station in Union Square. You can always find us online at somerville.wickedlocal.com. Follow us on Twitter at VilleJournal, and get in touch with me at 617-629-3385 or at datkinson@wickedlocal.com.
Before Davis Square was a vibrant, bustling center of action that it is today, ArtBeat brought a unique mix of art, music, food, and fun to attract visitors. Davis Square and ArtBeat have grown up together. Nikita Sampath takes a look.
25 years ago, a small community arts festival kicked off in Somerville's Davis Square. Today, it's one of the biggest arts festivals in the area. Rachel Stutz has been an organizer for 13 years.
It's a large, community-oriented, multicultural arts festival.
And chicken tikka masala.
But we try and line up a lot of local talent, so it's a way to showcase the creative talents of the community.
Over the years, ArtBeat has grown along with Davis Square.
Now Davis Square is booming, but it didn't always used to be booming, and businesses really needed foot traffic, so this was a way to draw people to the square. Over a few decades, it has grown in scale, and so now, of course, we shut down the streets. We have 2 stages of music. We have a dance showcase in the Somerville Theater, so it's gotten bigger.
To keep things fresh each year, they now have themes. This year's theme is loops, and performers can interpret it in any way they like.
The reason we're trying to bring in hula hooping, poi, and Diablo in particular are because the 3 of them are very loop-centric. So obviously with hula hoops, it's a circle. With Diablo, oftentimes you see them moving the Diablo in a circular motion, and with poi, you spin it in a circle.
Loops are unique to this year, but the open-air circus, which is almost as old as ArtBeat itself, are a regular at the fest. Every summer, they train kids in circus skills at the Nunziato Field Park.
What we do at ArtBeat every year is we do a stilting workshop where we teach anyone who wants to try to learn 6 years old and up for about 5 to 10 minutes each.
In addition to the yearly themes, there are also fresh faces coming in with their own interpretations of them.
This is our first time playing it, and we're really excited.
Being from around Somerville, except for the one Boston boy, the electronic folk band say ArtBeat was always on their radar and were invited to perform this year by one of their friends, Jen Harrington, who works with the Arts Council. They love classic American music like the band and Bob Dylan. Their music is reflective of this, with their own spin added to it. Eternals are working towards releasing their second record next year and say that loops are in fact a regular feature in their music.
We've been using loops for a while. We had them on our first record as well on Specifically on the song Staging Actors, we used it at the end of that.
I'll use what's called the delay pedal and crank up the feedback loop all the way so that it'll constantly be repeating the same note and turn into this long drone, and I can manipulate that however I desire.
For Somerville Neighborhood News, I'm Nikita Sampat.
Scat TV will broadcast live from ArtBeat on Saturday, July 18th from 12 to 2 p.m. on Channel 3. You can also catch rebroadcast over the next few weeks and on demand at scattvsomerville.org. For decades, the Mystic River was a polluted ribbon running through Arlington, Somerville, and out to the Boston Harbor. Great strides have been made in cleaning this local waterway. It now attracts boaters and wildlife alike to its waters. Today, improvement efforts have turned to the removal of the Asian water chestnuts, an invasive plant species that threatens to choke the river. The Mystic River Watershed Association is working to clear the plant with the help of many hands.
It's a great day on the Mystic today because we're going to be harvesting water chestnut with about 125 volunteers from the surrounding communities. And water chestnut is an invasive plant that is very opportunistic, and it has invaded the Mystic as of about 7 years ago and expanded dramatically.
It's an invasive species native to Eurasia, and it was brought in 1897 by a Harvard botanist, so thanks Harvard. And the water chestnut crowds out all the native plants, and when it dies, it decomposes and it gets rid of the oxygen in the water, so it lowers the dissolved oxygen content, and then the fish die, and so all in all, it just kills things, and we don't like it.
So it had the potential of very dramatically altering the ecology of the river.
I kayak on the river quite a bit, and I remember when it was just a narrow channel because of all the water chestnuts.
I think it's an impressive example of community outreach and a combination of local municipalities coming together to help regain access to this waterway, and that just listening to the people over the course of the day, that being involved is important to them, not only for the sense of charity, but also for the sense of regaining recreational access to this river. And it's definitely feel-good work.
This is our fourth time out doing this, and we just absolutely love doing it.
We've been thinking about doing this for a while, and it was a good day to do so. So we finally were able to be available and remember to do it and come.
Just out here picking the water chestnuts out of the river and just having a good time. Come out here with some friends and yeah, having a blast.
I've done it before, yep. It's great. Everybody should do it.
Of course, there's still time to get out on the Mystic and do your part. Additional cleanups will take place on Saturday, July 18th and August 8th. For more information or to register, visit mystic.org. In our last newscast, we brought you a story on community gardens and the urban gardening effort here in Somerville. This week, we take you back to South Street Farm, where volunteers and staff were busy harvesting the first crops of 2015. Just in time to stock the Somerville Mobile Farmers Market. The season's first stop, the Council on Aging.
This season the crops are doing pretty good. We have a few acres on this side of South Street Farm and a few others, and we have several farms all around Somerville that we farm from. So it's been good though. Weather's been good. We have a lot of people turning out to help out, and it's great.
Yeah, I would say that this is a wonderful opportunity to be able to work at the South Street Farm and to work with Groundwork Somerville. Everyone here is really welcoming and inclusive, and the work here is very meaningful. So the food that we produce gets sold throughout neighborhoods in Somerville, and many of which don't have access to fresh, healthy food. So I think it's really important to do this kind of work.
We grow all sorts of things. Grow eggplant, tomatoes, cilantro, broccoli, cabbage, you name it. We have all different types of things passed around. Yeah, the mobile market is something we're partnered with Shape Up Somerville. So it's a market that provides fresh produce to areas in Somerville that might have issues getting the produce. So it has a schedule, and it runs every week. And yeah, so our green team, our youth volunteers help run it with some of our interns and our staff as well.
Yeah, do it.
And then go into the close.
Yeah.
You know, to be involved in Somerville, and because I love growing things and being able to grow things on site, even when you're in the city, I think is rewarding and fun.
The Mobile Farmers Market makes 4 stops throughout the city on Fridays and Saturdays through October. For locations and times, call Shape Up Somerville at 617-625-6600, extension 4321. And that's our newscast for tonight. We'll be back on July 28th at 7 p.m. on Channel 3. In the meantime, check out our news stories at somervilleneighborhoodnews.org. Also visit our Facebook page, Scat TV SNN, to comment and share your favorite segments. Tweet us at Scat TV SNN. We welcome you to get involved, become a reporter, or just share your story ideas. Call us at 617-628-8826 or email us at news@scattvsomerville.org. I'm Melanie Morris. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you around the neighborhood.